Hey there, Cattail Acres friends and family. I hope you're joining me live tonight. Tonight is the Halloween book launch for Sacrifice. This is my third book in the No Wave series. It's a dark fantasy, but it's an apocalyptic dark fantasy series. So it's not post-apocalyptic. It's actually happening during the apocalypse. At least the first book is. So, I would like to welcome you and say, hey, lady. Hi, Kimberly. It's nice to see you here today. So I'm super excited for this launch. I'm beyond jazzed, you guys. I can't even. I just cannot even. So, if there are any questions, I'd like to go ahead and get those out of the way kind of early. Yeah, me too. I am so jazzed, you can't even imagine. It's just, I'm beyond words for the third book in this series. I did bring some stories to share. So if you'd like, I can go ahead and dive into the first one of my spooky readings for tonight. I am reading for you the Live Lash Challenge. This was originally published in Ghost Light, the magazine of terror. And other than that, it hasn't been seen. So I would love for you guys to be able to share in this strange and spooky story with me. So if you are ready, I will dive right into that. The Live Lash Challenge by D.E. Chandler. This is it, ladies. It's the newest, the wildest, and the most glam challenge ever. That's right. I'm talking about the Live Lash Challenge. Kirsten McMillan, or Kirsty Mac, as she is known on MeTube, takes one big breath before grinning and batting her perfectly mascaraed lashes into the camera lens and diving right back into her spiel. Today, I'm at my local day spa giving the live lash one more time. Today, I'm at my local day spa getting the live lash treatment for the very first time. My friend Mitzi had it done yesterday, and her lashes were triple in size this morning. So today, I'm getting mine done, and I'm going to give you the inside scoop. Since this is the second day they're being offered anywhere. Are you ready, ladies? Here goes. The camera jostles as Kirsty Mac swings open the glass door and walks in. Her hand reaches out from behind the camera, which she has trained on the woman behind the counter. She shakes the woman's hand. Hi, I'm Kirsty Mac. I would like to film the Live Lash application for my MeTube followers as part of the Live Lash Challenge. Would that be okay? Sure, the bottle redhead set behind the counter says. Let's just get you signed in. Great. Kirsty signs in on the clipboard on the counter and follows the woman through the salon to a dimly lit back room that is probably a converted massage room. The woman motions her to a chair, and Kirsty Mack sits and follows the woman with her camera as she turns to explain the process. Live Lash is a one-time treatment that is designed to visibly lengthen lashes in as little as 24 hours. It is a brand new experimental treatment and is still in the beta stage. In order to participate in the beta stage, you will need to sign a waiver, of course, but this is just so we know that you are aware of its experimental status. Just a formality. She produces another clipboard upon which is a form that Kirsty Mack hurriedly signs. She puts it on the counter and fiddles with her back turned before returning to Kirsty Mack and continuing. I just need you to remove your mascara and eye makeup, she says, handing Kirsty Mack a couple of pink disposable towelettes. These are completely safe and hypoallergenic and will take all that stuff off in just a few swipes. I don't know, Kirsty Mack says. My makeup is industrial strength. It'll work, I promise. Go ahead and give it a try. Kirsty Mack hands the camera to the woman, who records her wiping off the makeup. Surprisingly, most of the makeup really is gone in just a couple of swipes. She finishes cleaning off the makeup and looks at the camera, evidently shocked. That was waterproof makeup and all-day liner. These are amazing. I think I got it all. The woman hands the camera back to Kirsty Mack and beams as Kirsty Mack turns the camera back around. Great. I'll go get the live lash treatment and be right back. Oh, Kirsty Mack says, it's not here? I was hoping to get a shot of the product all lined up on the shelf. Oh no, it's kept in a special storage container at a constant temperature away from light. It's very perishable otherwise. Oh, okay. The woman goes out the door of the little room and Kirsty Mack turns the camera on herself. She looks yellow in the dim light. Wow, she says, that cleanser was awesome. I'll have to see about the brand and let you guys know. I'll put the links in the comments. The sound of the door prompts Kirsty Mack to turn the camera back around and focus again on the woman. This time, there is another woman with her. I brought Jeannie along to film for you if you like, since it would be hard to do that while I'm administering the treatment. Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you. I hadn't even thought of that. Kirsty Mack hands the camera off to the assistant, who trains it on the chair. The woman has a rather large cylinder in her hands, which she sets on the counter and unseals. A vacuum seal hiss startles Kirsty Mack, and the woman draws out a small bottle that resembles a liquid eyeliner container. The assistant zooms in on Kirsty Mack's face. Looks like she's had some practice. The woman leans over Kirsty Mack and opens the container. She pulls out a tiny brush, like any other liquid eyeliner brush. She carefully applies a thin line along the tops and bottoms of Kirsty Mack's lashes, and then replaces the brush and closes the container tight. The assistant zooms back out, and the woman is seen putting the bottle back in the canister and quickly taking it back out. She hands the camera back to Kirsty Mack, who turns it on the assistant. Is that it? Asks the assistant. Oh, I don't know. Oh, say, is that it? She asks the assistant. Oh, I don't know. She'll be right back. I just came in to do the camera thing. I haven't seen the Live Lash application before. It's all new to me. She grins an awkward grin and backs out the door. Just a moment later, the first woman comes back in. Is that it? Kirsty Mack asks her in the same exact tone as she asked the assistant. It sure is. By this time tomorrow, you'll be able to see an improvement in the length of those lashes. In the meantime, there are a few precautions. You'll want to stay out of the sunlight as much as possible for the first few days, and you'll want to keep cool as much as possible. Just as a precaution, you may also want to take an antihistamine when you're done here. We haven't had any reactions yet, but, better safe than sorry, right? Alrighty, if you'll come with me, we'll get you checked out and you're free to go. Great. Kirsty Mack follows her to the cash register and uses her phone to pay the $200 bill. Then she pushes back through the glass door to the sidewalk, where she ends her recording for the day. All right, peeps, that's it for this part of the Live Lash Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow for the unveiling and comparison. She gives the viewers a wink, and then the screen goes black. Good morning, my peeps. Kirsty Mack here with the follow-up. It's day 2 for me in the Live Lash Challenge. She gives the camera a big cheesy grin and a wink, then leans in close. Her lashes do seem long, thick, and healthy. Alrighty, I've got the photo I took of yesterday morning, no makeup in the corner, and you can see there's a visible difference this morning with no makeup. Oh my gosh, they've got to be double in length and thickness. She bats them a few times, and the picture in the corner disappears. The only thing that's a little concerning is the tingling. It's really not any worse than what you get with a plumping lipstick or a quality exfoliant. But there is some tingling and a little watering. It seems to be less this morning than it was last night. Last night, my eyes did get pretty red, but as you can see, they're bright and clear this morning. She leans back comfortably in her seat and seems pleased. All in all, I'd say it's totally worth it. If the tingling gets to you, maybe try that antihistamine thing the lady was talking about, but I made it through the night without too much trouble. Well, that's all for this installment of the Live Lash Challenge. Join me tomorrow. Cancun update. I can't wait. Time to hit the beach. Then the screen goes black again. When the screen fades in, Kirsty Mack is in a bikini with a big floppy hat and a crochet vest. Behind her is a sugar sand beach with gently lapping waves. Happy Cancun Day! I am all unpacked here in beautiful Cancun and ready to hit the beach. I just wanted to pop on here and give you guys an update on the Live Lash. It's freaking amazing. Look, Kirsty Mack gets a close-up of her face. She appears to have big false lashes on. This stuff is a miracle. Seriously, folks, you can throw out your mascara and falsies. With Live Lash, you don't need them. Well, I'm off. I'll check back with you guys in a couple of days. Hasta luego. 2 days later, when the screen fades in, Kirsty Mack doesn't look so well. She's in her home studio. Her lashes are still enormous, maybe a little over the top. Hey guys, this will be a short one. I'm back in the States. I'm not sure if it's something I ate or the jet lag, but I'm not feeling great. My stomach's in knots and my head is killing me. Also, these lashes are a bit much now. I may need to trim them. I'll do that video as soon as I get feeling better. That's all for now. Catch me next time. The video cuts off sharply. When the screen comes up again, Kirsty Mack is in her home studio looking no better, but with a big fake grin. Alrighty, folks, these lashes have got to go. It's time for a trim. She holds up a tiny, delicate pair of scissors and then proceeds to lean in as if leaning into a makeup mirror. She makes the cut very carefully. Her eyes grow wide. She drops the scissors. Then she bends over, and the sound of retching is heard. When she sits back up, she's out of breath and shaking. She fumbles with the camera, and the screen goes black, but the timer is still running on the video. Okay, guys, she says when she flips the screen back on. I'm going to level with you here. I think it's the live lash messing with me. I didn't do any of the things. I was in the sun. I didn't take the antihistamines. I think I need a doctor. I need help. The head pain is awful, and when I tried to cut the lashes, it was excruciating. Something is wrong. I need help. For goodness sake, don't get the live lash. There's no follow-up video. The channel has disappeared from the lists on MeTube. A brief internet search reveals the sad truth. Kirsty Mack is found dead in her home studio, attempting to make a follow-up video. The footage found is graphic. The screen comes up with Kirsty Mack in her home studio, seeming to hold her eyes open with one hand so she can peer at the screen. Her eyes are teary, and her voice cracks when she speaks. I think they'll let me talk for a minute. The colony, that's what they call themselves. They're alive. The lashes, they're in my brain. I never made it to the doctor. They wouldn't let me leave. All they want is light and warmth and a host to help them procreate. She stops. Her eyes get wide. Her face loses all expression. She gurgles a bit. The colony will grow. You will help the colony. The colony will grow. You will help the colony. The words repeat. They keep repeating until Kirsty Mack lets her hand that had been holding her eyes open fall away. When it does, the lashes are there. They must be 3 inches long, all of them waving like the tentacles of an out-of-place sea anemone. A strange feeling comes over you. You suddenly feel as though you must rise to the live lash challenge. Just because Kirsty Mack was an unsuitable host, that doesn't mean you are. The end. And that was the live lash challenge. First published in Ghostlight magazine. Whew, that was something. It's been a minute since I've done a full reading, and I've been sick, so my voice might be a little bit sharp. I do have a couple of other stories if you'd like to hear them. Otherwise, any questions about sacrifice? This is book number 3 of the Nova Wave series. Anything you guys want to ask or comment about it? I am feeling better. Yes, thank you, Miss Kimberly. I am feeling so much better. I sound worse, but I actually feel much better. I think it's just you and me tonight. Thank you so much. Um, so if you'd like, I have another short. This one was Coda. Oh, yay! Oh, I would love to see Coda on here. That would be amazing. I have another couple of shorts. One of these is called Silverback, and I wrote it as a drabble. She had to go get gas. Yes, I know the feeling. I was down to under a quarter of a tank when I finally filled up this week. I don't know if you can tell, but I have some of your pretties here behind me. I am absolutely in love with this carnelian tower. Oh, I got my cauldron going. So if you want, I don't know if you know what a drabble is. A drabble is approximately 100 words. Actually, it's exactly 100 words. And this story called Silverback started out as a drabble. I think it actually wound up at 102 words. This is called Silverback. A south breeze brought the scream to us. Hubby ran across the road to save the cat, bent over and spoke to something. It leapt from the underbrush and tore viciously at his head. I could do little from the porch as he fought the beast, finally breaking and running back to the porch, to me, with the thing chasing and leaping on him as he ran. I stood, torn, but when I went to meet him, the thing leapt out from his bloody head and shoulders. The gore-streaked juvenile silverback gorilla left him for dead and was coming at me. It was actually based on a nightmare that I had. So was this one. And I want to put a kind of a content warning on this one. It was ridiculously terrifying. I woke up in a cold sweat from that one. And this one too. This one is called Interesting Critters, and I think I'm going to blow this one up into a bigger story. But for now, it's kind of just a drabble. Interesting Critters. The tour arrived where Gail knelt at the galvanized basin. Interesting new critters flourished in it now. Carl whispered, "Make them want to donate." Reluctantly, she greeted them with a smile. Our open tide catchment is a habitat to a variety of life forms. She stuck a quivering hand into the dark water. lifted a gelatinous creature from the depths, lifted another. It split again and again until hundreds of tiny versions of the thing burrowed into her skin, crept in her ears, and slithered down her screaming throat. When they lifted her body to give chase, the humans couldn't run fast enough. That was Interesting Critters. And I have this image burned into my head from these creatures burrowing into her skin. It's like forever stuck. Yeah. Oh, that's what I do. I bring bad things to life. Excuse my coffee. Oh. So let's see. I have a couple more things that I can share. But first, thank you so much. You're amazing. I don't know what I'd do without you. Hey, Steven! Ah, I love my cauldron too. It took forever to get it set up right. So, with that said, I'm kind of cool. I'm kind of glad that Steven is here. It's kind of cool because the next one I wanted to share is from one of his anthologies called Blackbird's Third Flight. Well, I actually I got my cauldron from Azure Green. It's kind of a witchy supply store, and I actually used to have a little witchy shop here in Sapulpa. I love it too. They'll never leave me, these cauldrons. I think they'll outlive me. Oh yeah, Azure Green is still around, definitely. One of these days I hope to open my store again. That would be fun. Azure, like Azure the blue color. I think it's Azure. Yes, that's the one. That's correct, Stephen. Yes, Azure Green. I know we really need something like that here in the area. We've got one in Sand Springs, and I love Earth and Soul, but it's kind of far away. I know, and I don't get over there often enough. Hey, Dakota! It's so good to see you. So before I go on to the next reading, how do I get it to smoke? It's actually a mist maker. Like there's a little device in here that makes the mist. It's kind of like a fog machine, but much smaller. Yay! I think I may have messed it up. I did mess it up. Hang on. Oh, it took it a minute to get like just right. It's a mess. It was hilarious earlier because the cats knocked it all over and had water everywhere. I think poor Izzy is traumatized because cast iron is heavy, and when she knocked it over on her. Oh, which story? It'll be her last question. They are getting big. But before I go on to the story, I want to focus on a giveaway. Not just for sacrifice, but this giveaway is going to be for all 3 books in the series so far. Oh, yeah, they did too. They had it everywhere. The carpet's still soaked. So I see approximately 3 people here. So I'm going to put all of your names on a piece of paper and we're going to do a drawing. And this drawing is going to be for all 3 books. Ah. Yeah. I'm excited too. Oh, you guys just don't even know. All right. Let me get yay trusty scissors out here. That way I'm not just tearing stuff. Oh, you know what? I wish. Yeah, Stephen, you get consideration too, sir. You're amazing. You've been an amazing source of support for me for years, and I want to include you. Yay! This one will be signed, though. I wish I had my witch hat out. Oh, hey, I can use my Blues Brothers hat. Hang on. Get in there. Okay. Okay. I have Dakota. Dakota, you will be getting 3 books all signed from me. Just send me your mailing address or we can meet somewhere in town. Yes, Way. Oh my God. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay. So, y'all just made my Halloween. You really did. I am so excited to send this to you. Why is it blinging at me? Hang on. I'm having difficulties. Cancel. Okay, here we go. There we go. Okay. Anywhere, anytime you want to, as long as I'm not working. I want to scream right now. Are you kidding me? Oh, I'm so excited. So, before adieus are in any way furthered, as Rachel Maxey would say, I would love to read you guys her last question. And this is from Blackbird's Third Flight, which was published by the Prositeurs way back in the day. Tamara Johnson woke in darkness. She knew who she was, but not where she was or how she'd come to be there. The pungent smell of the surrounding wood filled her with sudden dread. She squirmed in the tight space and winced when a splinter pierced her flesh just below her knee. The box was just big enough for her to fit inside. Around the top edges, sharp points poked through the wood. Nails. Bolts of searing panic shot through her core to her limbs, and she beat on the lid of the box with as much momentum as she could gain in the confines of the space. Fine grains of dirt sifted down onto her face. She stopped. She could scream, but no one would hear. The dirt above her would muffle her voice. How far down? How'd she get here? Thinking back, she could remember going to a party last night at Jared's. Jared met her at the door, his nose and glasses making the appearance around the door before the rest of him did. He was one of those comic book geeks who kept one hand in the pocket of his oversized black hoodie at all times. Not because he thought it looked gangsta, but because he thought it was easier to keep his worry stone in there. And he worried all the time. Tonight, though, he seemed sufficiently stoned to have a smile on his face and had traded his black hoodie for a costume of some obscure comic book villain. Come in, he said around the not-so-costume pipe in his teeth. Mwahaha! His fake mad laughter made him cough. Hey, she replied, and ducked around him to get in the door without brushing against him. There's beer and liquor in the kitchen by the blender, he said, closing the door behind her, and the snacks are over on the coffee table. The devils are, too. Thanks, she said as she shuffled into the living room. Are Ashley and Sarah here, or are they bailing again like always? They're running late, but said they'd be here in about 30. He tagged along after her and then scooted around her, brushing her arm with his sleeve. Embarrassment made her feel hot. We're already getting started, though, and the living room's set up for risk. Cool. She sat on the couch to nibble at the chips and cheese dip while the guys hovered over the table, arguing about the finer points of the game. If the other two bail, I'm going to be the only girl again. Awkward. Typical. Her head hurt, and she couldn't remember what happened next. She vaguely remembered seeing the underside of the coffee table. She took a deep, painful breath. How many more do I have? The total darkness she found herself in consumed her thoughts. She screamed. She screamed at the bastard who shacked up with her mom. She screamed at the mean girls who picked on her at school. She screamed at the guy who dumped her in the parking lot in front of all his laughing friends. She screamed until the tears dried on her cheeks, and she felt her whole body spin into nothing. The pain in her lungs was gone. The stinging of her hands from beating on the wooden box was gone. The darkness had welcomed her into itself. After a time, she didn't know or care how long, she became aware of a feeling beyond herself. Beyond the wood of the box. In a way, the box became only a tiny part of her. She could feel the soil, roots. She felt the skittering and slithering things as they made homes within her. Still, there was no pain. Instead, her senses opened more and more until she was one with them. After a time, she could see what they saw. She went with them as they navigated their tunnels in the dark. She could feel the tree and the plants as well. If she paid close attention to the feeling, she felt the exact point at which they emerged from the soil to bask in the sun and the wholesome air. She reveled with them in their tiny, enormous lives. She came to feel them all as a part of herself. After all, she wasn't going anywhere. Then Jared came, the boy she barely remembered, and he came with Greg. The two of them talked quietly, but she could hear them well enough through the leaves and blades of grass. Feeling like a closer look was in order, she had a butterfly emerge a bit early, so it could climb the tree and she could watch through its many faceted eyes. Just making sure the cats haven't knocked something over. They stood above the box she used to be trapped in. The butterfly saw no marker on her grave, only a young lilac shrub. The cats have come awake. Okay. See, Greg said, there's no way anyone could tell something was here. Even if they know we dug a hole, they'd just think it was for the bush. The grass did grow back pretty good, Jared said softly. Seriously, they'll never even think to look here. They think she left and make it home. That's what we said. Her mom thinks she ran away. I guess, Jared said. Quit thinking about it. Greg clapped a hand on Jared's shoulder. Let's go do the next level in Diablo. Then they turned their backs on the lilac bush. The butterfly watched them. They walked across a large yard into what looked for all the world like the back of Jared's parents' house. How could I still be here? The bits of her consciousness came a little closer together and wondered, how could I have been buried in his backyard? Greg and Jared did something messed up to me. They must have. Why can't I remember? She had to follow them. She had to know what else happened. But how? She sent the butterfly into the house. but the boys closed the door before she could get in. With the butterfly blocked, she sent thoughts out along the roots of the tree, into the grass, sent them all the way to the foundation of the house and into the soil underneath. It was too much. She began to feel thin, like she'd spread herself over too great an area. Drawn to the house, she left her box and tree behind and set the mind of the butterfly free. She now inhabited only the soil, and as she moved her consciousness toward the house, she bumped into a multitude of crawling things. Those tiny minds she pulled along with her implacable will. She crept on until she inhabited the very soil beneath the foundation. Once there, she sent vines of bindweed up the foundation, prodding, wriggling, searching for any breach of continuity in the stonework. Within hours, she uncovered the first hole, and then another, until she had dozens of ways into the house. The house itself had no mind to inhabit, but was instead filled with a dark energy. Imagining herself as a magic user character in one of the role-playing games she used to enjoy, she sent forth her army of tiny helpers to find the boys within the house. Through all the holes along the baseboards went the spiders, snakes, worms, and beetles. Through all the chinks around the doors and windows went the centipedes, flies, scorpions, and wasps. She had 1,000 eyes on the boys before they ever knew the army was upon them. She didn't want to harm them, not yet. She wanted to talk to them. Still, in the hall outside Jared's bedroom, she tried to pull all of the elements of her consciousness back together. The animals swarmed together, crawling over, under, and around one another until the mass of them together became a column. Sections split away from the column and grew distinct until each section became a limb. She now had 2 arms, 2 legs, and a body that could move under her will. Still, she could feel each individual body as it clung to each of the others, and all of her eyes were on the boys. They sat on the bed, smoking weed, listening to the music, and looking at porn. They're the reason I'm dead. She willed her new body forward. The boys spotted her in the hallway and fell over one another in their panic. Greg jumped over Jared and slammed the door. He slammed it so hard that when it hit her, all of the creatures that made up her new form fell apart. Her will still moving them, she sent them under the door, body by tiny body. He stomped them as they came, but she sent hundreds more. They swarmed under the door so quickly they drove him back. Jared cowered on the other side of the bed. Greg grabbed a metal baseball bat and hit at her as she started to reform. She sent her creatures scurrying along the bat. They entered his mouth, his nose, his ears, his eyes. He gave a gargled cry and collapsed to his knees. She turned to Jared. With the hiss of the snakes and the clicks and chirps of the insects, she managed to form one sound that he might understand as a word, one sound that might allow her peace. Why? She peered at him through all of the eyes. Jared scrambled to the far wall. Urine puddled at his feet, his face contorted with terror. She felt nothing but the need to know. She gathered her will and made the sound again, clearer this time. Why? Jared could only gape at her, his wide eyes filling with tears, holding his worry stone up before him like a crucifix. After a moment of recognition, he sobbed. It was an accident. You mixed the red and blue devils. You said it would be okay. I said it would be okay. The final memory locked into place in what remained of her consciousness. She remembered taking a handful of the red and blue pills, washing them down with a beer, so careless with her life. The last vague image of that night came to her. It was the fear on the boys' faces as they watched her fall into unconsciousness. They thought I died, but they didn't kill me. She pulled her insects out of Greg's convulsing body. The need that she had used to pull together the pieces of her will began to dissipate. They must have buried me out there, thinking they would get into trouble. Creature by creature, she let the animals go, and they went back to their tiny, enormous lives, remaining in the mind of a solitary snake. She wriggled out under the door and back to her tree. The tree's roots, a comforting shelter in which she could rest. A safe place to think about all of this. The cool blackness of the earth and her box soothed her. Perhaps when I wake up, it'll all make sense. At least I know what happened now. When Jared led the police to dig up her body, she didn't go with it. She didn't need it anymore. With no regrets, she let them take it to the morgue, a few insects along for the ride. She felt a vague sense of astonishment at her mother's tears, but that was all. She turned away and never thought of it again. Sometimes she would ride with a butterfly, or shuffle among the grasses and leaves as a beetle or grasshopper. Most often, she would nestle among the roots of her tree friend and listen to the life and land thrumming all around her, through her, within her. Now all questions were answered, and she could just be. And that is the end. I love it too. Oh my gosh. I just think that's one of my favorite, all-time favorites. Oh, thank you guys. Well, Miss Dakota, if you will send me your email address, you can DM. Oh, thank you, Stephen. I really felt that one. Like it was very palpable within my brain when I was writing it. You guys are killing me. Okay. Oh, y'all. Come on now. You're going to give me a big head. Yeah. Send me your email and we will get together and I will bring you signed copies of every single one of my books. Thank you guys so much for being here. Oh, it could happen. I promise I do have an ego in there. Thank you guys so much. I love y'all. Have a wonderful Halloween night. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.